Hey guys, I got a question, or rather a request, not a question, from a viewer. I don't remember the person's name on YouTube, but anyway, about talking about some tips or any helpful information for somebody who wants to open a bookstore where they are. Now, some of the tips I'm going to give you four. There's so many things I could talk about, but let's just talk about these four for now. It could be the same thing if you want to open a music store, if you want to open a video store, a movie store, video game store, any of those. Or like myself, where I have books, music, movies, and video games. You can apply this to any of those. But the four things I want to talk about, right? So also I'm Andrew from 510 Books. I do have a local book and physical media store, as you can see, in Southern California on the outskirts of Los Angeles County. So I'm not in the heart of LA, but I'm like 40 miles east of LA. Anyway, so I've had this for 6 years. This month is 6 years. And so let me just dive into it. Otherwise, this is going to be super long. And I don't want to make it so long. I want you to get something out of it quickly. So number one is location. You have to decide, obviously, where you're going to be. And here, I'll turn the camera around so I can show you more of where I am. Hold on. It's windy now outside, but I am... Whoa! That happened. Okay, that happened live, or while I was filming this. So this sign blew over because of the wind, so I put my dolly there and that won't fall over. So here's where I am, which is not a traditional retail space. It is, there's 24 small warehouse units, and it goes all the way down. There's 12 on either side, so 24 in total. They're 800 square feet. It is on a semi-busy street, which is just like 100 feet from an extremely busy intersection that gets thousands of cars, many thousands a day. But this is where I am. I have a roll-up door. I have a normal door, as you can see. Very high ceilings, good lighting, and a restroom. But anyway, so this is not a traditional retail space. So you have to decide, are you going to find a unit like mine? This is not a storage unit. This is a warehouse, a small warehouse space. Storage units are totally different. You're not going to be able to have a retail store in a storage unit. So you can get a warehouse unit like this, or are you going to look for a traditional retail space? Traditional retail space in general is going to be more expensive. Of course, it depends on where you live. Where I live, it's a lot more expensive. But also depends on the city, depends on the area. Some traditional retail spaces are much less, within a few miles of me here than others. So it always depends. So how big do you want it to be? The cost, the location. So if you're going to get a unit like mine here, let me switch the camera around. Sorry. If you're going to get a unit like mine, then understand it's going to cost less per month and just in general to get it, get in the unit. Obviously, you have to pay for probably a deposit, first and last month, that kind of thing. So you're going to need a little bit of money to get into it. But it's going to cost less in general. So let's say, just throwing out numbers, let's say $1,000 for a unit like this, but maybe $2,500, $3,000 or more for the same size unit in a traditional retail space. So you'll save money in the beginning. However, you will not get people just walking by. I don't get people just walking by here. I do get some people walking by on the sidewalk because people take walks, they'll run. Bicyclists have, biked by and come in. But people drive by, and that's why I have signs out there. So things like buying a banner, buying an A-frame, buying a sign multiple signs you can put out there depending on how your situation is to get people to find you. And that took a while. So understand that, how much money do you have to put into it? How much patience do you have? How much time do you have? Because it took a while for me to get that traction. And lately it's been because of social media. I've gotten a lot more people coming in, but I am not in a traditional space where you open it up and there's already multiple, maybe like 5 to 10 to 20 businesses, small businesses or big businesses around you. And already people are showing up to those businesses and they're seeing yours and they're coming in. So understand that location is really important, how much money you're going to spend and where it is and that kind of thing. Number two is I recommend catering to a specific audience. So let's talk about books, right? Like you can see all of the books I have over here. This is all very general. I have not, I mean, what I mean is I don't cater to a specific audience. I've got lots of nonfiction, I've got memoirs, I've got creative writing, creative nonfiction, I've got history, gardening, health. I got all kinds of variety of, here, I'll show you, a variety of topics, nonfiction topics, miscellaneous even, Spanish, self-help, science, sports, religion, war, writing, all different types. And then I have, of course, fiction, all types of fiction books. But I don't cater to a specific niche. So I could be, as an example, you could have only fiction, but you could even niche down more. You could say, have a couple categories. I don't know. You could have science fiction, fantasy, lean heavy into that. Maybe you could go into the, manga. You could go into graphic novels, comic books. Maybe you're huge with, you have mystery books or historical, whatever it is. Maybe you're heavy into nonfiction about certain topics. You have to have access to those kind of books, of course. You have to build up that inventory. But I think that's a good way to go. That's my recommendation. You can always do what I did and start general and then kind of start narrowing down, seeing what's working. Also, local interest is really important. Wherever you live, there's going to be certain books about the local history and people from the area, sports teams, all that kind of stuff that you're probably going to want to stock in your store. So my number one thing is on this is, so cater to a specific audience, and you can't appease or please everybody, right? Somebody says, do you have this kind of book? Do you have these kind of books? You say, no, I don't. And you keep it moving. Don't worry about it. You're not going to have the book for everybody or whatever you, in this example, bookstore, it's just not going to happen. You don't have the room unless you have a giant warehouse space or you have a giant retail space and you can fill it with 10,000 books. Then that's different, right? So I'm talking more of a smaller space. But if you can get, 3,000 square feet, well, then you're going to be able to have basically every topic imaginable, for books. Number 3, set up your hours of operation and stick to it. So if you're going to only be open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, then stick to it. If you're going to be open 6 days a week, 7 days a week, closed on Mondays, whatever it is, decide what the hours that work for you, and definitely don't stray from those for a while so that people can get used to it. Now, things might happen where your schedule might change. Is this the only thing you do? Do you sell online too? It's a great way to sell online if you have space, to continue to list on eBay or Amazon or wherever and ship and all that kind of stuff. But set up your hours, stick with it. My hours changed. Initially, it was just open one day a week. I had one big sale a month. Hold on. Okay, I just had some 2 customers come in. So I'm trying to remember where I was. I think I was talking about setting your hours. And so bottom line is, to wrap that up, is definitely set your hours, see what works for you. You might change it up in the future, but stick with it for a while. And really, have those consistent hours so people know when you're open. Build that consistency, whatever works with your schedule. And makes sense for you and where you are in the area and all that kind of stuff. Number 4, the last one, is I highly recommend building an email list. So this is an email list and also a social media following. So I do a weekly email newsletter blast, where I talk about anything that's going on in the store, but I also photograph and drop those photos into the email of all the new inventory that's going out. Now, for now, this is sustainable. If and when I grow really big and I'm putting out a lot more inventory, I might change that up. We'll see, but for now, that's what it is. And you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but it can be whatever works for you. But I think that it's super powerful to build a email list so that people locally see what's being put out. Because a lot of people will ask you, well, how often do you put out new books or whatever you're selling, right? Or whatever media you're selling, let's say books. How often do you put out books? So I put them out every day, or I put them out every week. So it's a way to communicate with people. Also social media, whichever one. As of right now, TikTok is really the most active one. But TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as YouTube a little bit, but I would say mostly TikTok number one, and then Instagram and Facebook. And just post videos on there. They don't have to be anything fancy. You don't even have to show your face, but just talk about your store and what you have and that kind of thing. And remember, you want to focus locally, because this is not eBay or Amazon or wherever, whatnot, or whatever it is. This is a local bookstore or a local movie store, a local video game store, whatever. And so you want to get those emails. Sometimes you can get people's phone numbers as well, but I just do the email list. You want to cultivate a local following, and you want to be known, which is what you're going to be anyway, as a small local business, because people want to support small local businesses. But your small business can make some good money, and you can get lots of new inventory, and all kinds of cool stuff can happen. And I know for sure that if I was in a different area, in a more traditional space where there was lots of cars and people walking by, that my business would be, way busier and have even a bigger following. But I decided to go the route of getting a unit like this that cost less, that I could also work out of for my online stuff. So everyone's path is different. It just depends on what you want to do. But I think that's really important to build that following, be it through an email list, be it on social media, or I recommend doing both. So first one is location. Figure out where you're going to go, how much it's going to cost, all that kind of stuff. Cater to a specific niche. You don't have to do that. You can be general, but I recommend doing that. Number 3, set your hours for your store. Stick to it. And number 4, develop that email list. I just have a piece of paper here. I have, what do you call it? I don't even know what those are called, but here, you can scan it down there, and QR code, so people can scan that and sign up for an email. I do it through square.com to be part of your email list. And those are my 4 tips. There's tons of other things I can talk about. I'll probably talk about in future videos, but those are ideas that pop into my head right now. If you have any questions or anything like that about it, let me know. Today, as a side note, I have been working on Blu-rays. So I'm awash in Blu-rays. I've gone through 2 boxes so far. I've got 8 more boxes to go, and it's lots of fun finding all kinds of new. These are all Blu-rays that I don't have yet in my store, or as back stock, that are going to go out slowly over time. But anyway, that's what I've been doing today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.